The life you are currently living is a sophisticated form of slow-motion suicide, a meticulous avoidance of the very pulse that makes you human. You are not suffering from a lack of opportunity or a string of bad luck. You are suffering from a profound internal sabotage, orchestrated by a mind that prefers the safety of a slow decay over the terrifying vibration of actual existence. Every morning, you wake up and negotiate with a domestic terrorist, your own ego, which convinces you that tomorrow is a real place where your courage is hidden, while today is merely a waiting room you must endure. Why is it that the moment you feel a spark of genuine desire, a cold wave of anxiety immediately follows to extinguish it? You have built a fortress out of your neuroses, convinced that these walls are protecting you from the world, when in reality, they are burying you alive. You feel that tightening in your chest right now, that urge to look away or scroll past this discomfort, because your mind recognizes the threat of being found out. You aren't afraid of failing. You are terrified of the responsibility that comes with succeeding. Because if you actually became who you are meant to be, you would lose the comfort of your excuses. How much longer can you pretend that your stagnation is a choice rather than a symptom of a mind turned inward against its own creator? The duality of the will. Why you are your own antagonist. The conflict within you is not a glitch. It is the fundamental architecture of the human soul as Otto understood it. You possess a will, a raw, creative force that demands to be expressed. But you have spent decades training a counter-will to suppress it. This counter-will is that voice that tells you, not yet, or who do you think you are? It isn't trying to help you. It is trying to keep you predictable. Predictability is the graveyard of the spirit, yet your mind craves it because predictability feels like safety. You would rather be miserably certain of your current state than dangerously uncertain of your potential. Consider the last time you had a creative impulse or a sudden urge to change your life. Within seconds, your mind provided a logical list of reasons why it wouldn't work. That wasn't logic. That was an immune response against growth. Your mind treats change like a virus. It attacks the new version of you before it can even take its first breath. Stas, why are you so invested in the person you used to be? Why do you defend your limitations with more passion than you defend your dreams? You are fighting a war where you are both the prisoner and the guard, and you've become so accustomed to the bars that you've started to call them home. The fear of life versus the fear of death. You are caught in a pincer movement between two primal terrors that rank identified with surgical precision. On one side, you have the fear of life, the dread of standing out, of being an individual, of the sheer intensity of being truly alive and responsible for your own fate. To truly live is to be separated from the herd, and that separation feels like a kind of death, so you shrink. You make yourself small. You mute your colors so you don't offend the gray background of society. But in doing so, you stumble into the fear of death. The fear of death isn't just about the end of your heartbeat. It's the horror of having never lived at all. It's the realization that you are dissolving into nothingness without ever having made a mark. You are paralyzed because if you move forward, you risk the isolation of life. If you stay still, you face the stagnation of death. This is why you feel that constant, low-grade buzzing of anxiety in your stomach. It's the sound of your soul being crushed between these two tectonic plates. Which fear is currently winning in your life? Are you more afraid of being seen or more afraid of being forgotten? The toxic comfort of the persona. Look at the face you prepare to meet the faces that you meet. That mask, your persona, is a masterpiece of deception, but the person you are deceiving most is yourself. You've spent years crafting a version of you that is palatable, safe, and socially acceptable. You say the right things, you perform the right roles, and you wonder why you feel like a ghost in your own skin. The mind is against you because it has convinced you that this mask is your actual face. You are terrified that if the mask slips, people will see the void underneath. But rank suggests the opposite. You are terrified they will see the power underneath. Think about your need for approval. It isn't a social necessity. It's an addiction to external validation that keeps you from having to validate yourself. Every time you check your phone for a notification or rehearse a conversation to ensure you don't sound weird, you are handing the keys of your identity to a stranger. You are a character written by others, performing a script you didn't write. Do you even know what your own voice sounds like when it isn't trying to please someone? Or has the actor completely replaced the human being? The crippling weight of the ideal self. Your mind has created a ghost, the ideal you. This version of you is perfect, productive, and fearless. You use this ghost to whip yourself into submission every single day. The ideal self is the greatest tool of self-sabotage because it makes your current reality feel like a failure. Instead of growing from where you are, you spend your energy mourning who you aren't. Your mind uses this ideal not as a North Star, but as a measuring stick to prove you are less than. This is a sophisticated way of avoiding the messy, imperfect work of actual creation. When you say, "I'll start when I'm ready," you are lying. You will never be ready, because ready is a fiction created by the mind to ensure you never begin. The mind prefers the perfect fantasy over the flawed reality. You'd rather dream of a masterpiece than paint a mediocre canvas. But Rank knew that the artist and the neurotic are the same person. The only difference is that the artist acts despite the neurosis. Are you using your high standards as a shield to protect you from the risk of being mediocre? Because mediocrity is the only gateway to greatness, and your mind is blocking the door. Anxiety as the smoke of a burning potential. We have been taught to treat anxiety as a disorder, something to be medicated or fixed. But what if your anxiety is the only honest part of you? What if it's a signal that you are betraying your own nature? Rank viewed anxiety as the inevitable result of repressed will. When you have the capacity to create, to change, or to lead, and you choose to stay silent and compliant, that energy doesn't just vanish. It turns inward. It becomes a corrosive acid that eats at your nerves. Your anxiety is the pressure of the you that wants to be born against the you that wants to stay safe in the womb of the mundane. Every time you feel that sudden spike of dread for no reason, ask yourself, what truth am I currently suppressing? What action am I avoiding? Your mind is against you because it wants to silence the alarm, but the alarm is the only thing telling you the house is on fire. You aren't broken. You are simply full of unused power that has nowhere to go but against your own psychic walls. The guilt of individuation. There is a specific kind of guilt that haunts the self-aware. The guilt of leaving others behind. To become yourself, you must, in some way, betray the expectations of your parents, your friends, and your culture. Your mind uses this guilt as a leash. It whispers that you are selfish for wanting more, or arrogant for thinking you can be different. This social pressure is mirrored inside your own head. You feel a debt to a past that no longer exists, and to people who are just as scared as you are. True growth requires a kind of psychological murder. You have to kill the version of you that lives for others. But your mind is a preservationist. It wants to keep every old version of you alive in a museum of regrets. This internal conflict creates a stalemate. You want to move, but you don't want to hurt anyone, so you stay still and hurt yourself instead. Is your kindness toward others actually just a cowardice toward yourself? How many years of your life are you willing to sacrifice on the altar of not making a scene? The illusion of preparation. You are a procrastination addict, not because you are lazy, but because you are a perfectionist who is terrified of being judged. Your mind convinces you that you need one more book, one more course, one more sign before you can act. This is the illusion of preparation. It is a sophisticated stalling tactic. By constantly preparing, you get the dopamine hit of feeling productive without ever having to face the cold, hard reality of the world's feedback. Real life doesn't happen in the rehearsal. It happens on the stage. But your mind hates the stage because on the stage, you can be seen. And if you can be seen, you can be rejected. So you stay in the dressing room, adjusting your costume forever. You are becoming an expert in a life you aren't actually living. Does it feel good to be the most prepared person in the room while someone with half your talent and twice your courage is out there doing the work? Your mind is telling you that you're being careful, but you're actually just being invisible. The creative necessity of destruction. To create anything, a new career, a new relationship, a new identity, you must first destroy the old one. Rank emphasized that the will is both creative and destructive. Your mind, however, is terrified of destruction. It clings to the ruins of your old habits because they are familiar. You keep trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of rotting wood, and you wonder why your life keeps collapsing. You are trying to change without losing anything, but you cannot have the new you while clinging to the old you. There is no bridge. There is only a leap. Your mind is against you because it wants a guarantee that the leap will be safe. It wants a map of the territory before it agrees to travel. But the map is only created by the person who walks the path. You are waiting for a certainty that will never come. What are you keeping in your life simply because you're afraid of the silence that would follow if you let it go? Boredom as a defense mechanism. We often think of boredom as a lack of interest, but in the psychology of the will, boredom is often a defense against intense emotion. When the truth of your situation becomes too painful to bear, your mind numbs out. It creates a fog of apathy to protect you from the realization that you are wasting your existence. You find yourself scrolling through endless feeds, watching videos you don't care about, and eating food you don't taste. Not because you enjoy it, but because it's a distraction from the screaming void within. This boredom is a choice. It is a strategic withdrawal of your energy. If you aren't interested in anything, you don't have to try. If you don't try, you can't fail. Your mind has convinced you that life is dull, when in fact, you are making yourself dull to avoid the sharpness of reality. What would happen if you turned off the distractions and sat in the silence for just 1 hour? You are terrified of that silence because in it, you would hear the voice of the person you were supposed to become, asking why you abandoned them. The courage to be disliked and displaced. The final boss of your internal conflict is the need for belonging versus becoming. Your mind is biologically wired to keep you in the tribe. Historically, to be cast out was to die. But in the modern world, the tribe is often a cage of mediocrity. Your mind senses that if you truly follow your own will, you will become other. You will no longer fit into the small boxes your friends and family have built for you. This displacement is the price of admission for a real life. Rank believed that the hero is simply the person who accepts the guilt of their own uniqueness. You are currently paying the price of fitting in, and that price is your soul. Chizu, you are trading your destiny for a seat at a table where you aren't even hungry. Is the warmth of the crowd worth the coldness in your heart? Your mind will tell you that you'll be alone, but it fails to mention that you are already alone. You're just surrounded by people who don't know the real you. You will finish this, and your mind will immediately attempt to file it away as interesting information rather than a call to arms. It will try to sedate you again, whispering that you'll think about this later, or that it doesn't really apply to your specific, complicated situation. But you know better. You can feel that uncomfortable vibration in your limbs because for a brief moment, the mask has slipped. There is no secret formula, no 5-step plan, and no one is coming to save you from your own self-imposed prison. You are currently standing at the edge of your own shadow, and the only way out is through. The truth is, your mind will continue to be against you until you decide that the pain of staying the same is finally greater than the pain of changing. Until then, you are just a ghost haunting your own potential, waiting for a life that you are too afraid to claim. The door is open, but it has always been open. You're just the one holding it shut.